Hi friends, welcome to my channel, and this is Windows Server 2019 essential installation and configuration step-by-step video. And in this video we are going to discuss about the benefit and drawback of the essential operating system which come with the Windows Server 2019. Also we are going to see how we can do the installation for the essential operating system and how to configure it. So we are going to have a step-by-step walkthrough during the installation and configuration for the 2019 essential operating system, which come with the Windows server platform. And as you can see, I have listed some benefits and drawback of the essential operating system or essential server operating system. So the benefits are like the first benefit, best for the small organizations, like essential operating system come with a 25 employees or 25 user or 50 devices. So when you buy a Windows Server 2019 essential, you don't need to buy any other licenses like CAL license for the device or users. You are going to get the 25 user cal and 50 device cal license, uh, including with in the price of the essential operating system. So as the second point is the same, going to describe low price and easy licensing. So since you don't need to buy any additional cal licenses for users and device, it's going to be easier for understand the licensing for the operating system, essential operating system. And also it's going to be a very cheap if you compare with the standard or the data center operating system with the Windows Server platform. And one of the major benefit of essential is you are going to get all the Windows Server main roles and feature available in essential operating system. Like you will get the Active Directory, you will get the file server, print server, DHCP, DNS, everything which is available in data center and the standard operating system. uh, but there is a slightly difference between the uh, roles and features. However, you will get everything which is commonly used in Windows Server platform. And the last thing which is new in Windows Server 2019 essential admin dashboard moved to Windows Admin Center. So previous if you were on a previous operating system, for the essential or OS, basically like 2012 or 2011 or 2016, you will get the essential admin dashboard to manage your server infrastructure, like a client triggered backup. And the uh, essential admin dashboard is single point where you can see all the configuration and you can make the changes there. So it has been removed now, and the Windows Admin Center is introduced in this. And drawback is a maximum support for 25 users, you can say, or 50 devices. So if you want to get the more users in your company or in your organization, then you have to move from the essential to standard operating system with the Windows Server platform. So it's not going to support for the more than 25 users of 50 devices. Also, when you are going to upgrade it to essential to standard, you have to buy the RDS CAL licenses or user or device based CAL licenses for the your environment, like users and devices. And the drawback is a single point of failure. So as I said, mm, this is for a small company like 25 employee or 50 devices. So it's a pretty small company or organization who owns the Windows Server essential operating system for their infrastructure, like and everything is going to run on single server, like AD server, print server, DHCP server. Everything is going to be installed on one single server. So if that server goes down, your infra is going to be down. So this is going to be a single point of fail. So this is what we are going to see. So this is the system requirement for Windows Server essential operating system. So if you talk about CPU socket, you must need like 1.4 gigahertz for 64-bit, uh, and faster multi-core processor and a single core processor. The recommendation is 3.1 gigahertz for the 64-bit processor or faster for multi-core, and maximum it can support only 2 socket. So if you're having a server more than 2 sockets, it's not going to support. So memory, it's going to be a maximum 64 gig, recommended 16 gig, and minimum you have to have 2 gig to deploy, and 4 gig if you are deploying Windows Server Essential as a virtual machine. And the hard disk maximum is no limit, you can go up to terabytes, and the minimum is 160 hard disk with the 60 GB system partition. uh, you need minimum. So basically 60 gig for the operating system, you can go with it. So this is the system requirement for the essential operating system, and this is my lab environment which I'm going to show you in this demo environment. So we have one domain controller which is Win2K19 ESS, which is going to be essential, and this is going to be our server, for example, and we have two client machines also. And these all three are the virtual machine which is running on my physical machine. My physical machine having like you can say uh, i7 core i7 Extreme series processor with 128 gig uh, memory and 1 TB SSD, and I have installed VMware Workstation 15 Professional on this machine, on my physical machine, and then we are going to run the virtual machines on this infrastructure. So this is a pre-installed machine which I am currently showing you. So this is my Win2K19's ESS01. So I have pre-installed to just give you a demo, like we have Active Directory and DNS running on this machine. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete this machine. I'm going to create a brand new machine with you guys, and so you can follow me on this. So I'm going to turn off this, and I'm going to delete this machine from disk. So now what I'm going to run, I'm going to create a new virtual machine, and I'm going with the typical option. So if you are running a virtual machine, if you are going to deploy it on virtual machine, you can go ahead, and the installation procedure is basically the same if you follow on the virtual machine or the physical machine. So I will install later on, and it's going to be Windows Server 2016. I'm going to name it Win2K19 ESS, and going to click next, and going to give 60 gig for the OS operating system basically, and click finish. And here we go. I'm going to give this machine 16 gig of memory and total 4 cores, and I'm going to browse my installation media. So my media is in servers 2019, and then it's going to be a 2019 essential. Then I'm going to put on my internet. I'm going to remove unnecessary devices. This is done, and now I'm going to power on this machine. So hardware configuration as per our requirement, and I'm going to power on this machine. And as I told, the installation is going to be very similar as we did installation for the other operating system like servers or the client operating system which is Windows based. So nothing fancy with this. This is pretty straightforward. Next, and install. So install now. not going to put license key for now, so I don't have a product key. If you have a product key and if you bought from any like reseller or something, you can go ahead and apply that key here, and then you can go with the installation. So I'm going to with the custom install Windows only. I'm going to select this disk and click next. So the installation is started, and this is going to take few minutes to get the installation done. So I'm going to pause the recording here, and once the installation is done, I'm going to resume from there. So going to pause recording for some time. So I'm back, the installation is completed. I have set the password and I'm going to log into this machine, and this is basically a brand new Windows Server 2019 Essential operating system. I'm going to open the server manager and we'll see what's need to be configured at the first point. So as you can see, trying the manage services server with the Windows Admin Center. So this is new in Windows Server 2019. So I'm going to have a separate video on this Windows Admin Center. So I'm going to don't show this message again and click on close button, and here you go. So on the start you will find some services are going to be stopped. So you can basically disable download maps manager service. It's not going to use anywhere, so I'm going to disable these service download map manager and going to set disable, and rest all the services should be fine up and running now. So you can see no red, no warning, so this is good. Now let's go to the local server. Once you go to local server, you can see the server name is something auto generated, so I'm going to correct it. So let's go here and put Win2K 19 ESS. I'm going to click OK, and this is going to reboot my machine. So click OK and click close. So I'm going to reboot after a few seconds, so restart later. And same way we need to, next thing which we need to enable is remote desktop. If you want to allow the remote connection from the any other machines on the network, you should be enable this remote desktop services. So this is good, and now you have to enable the basically configure the IP address. So I'm going to configure IP address on this machine. So IPv6 I'm going to disable. IPv4 I'm going to configure, so it's going to 192.168.0.201, and servant mask is 24-bit 255.255.255. Gateway is going to be 192.168.0.1, and the DNS is going to be itself, because this is going to be our primary domain controller, and gateway is my router, secondary DNS is my router address. So IP address is also configuration done. I'm going to disable this IE enhanced security configuration for administrator and users both, so it's not going to pop up anything when you are going to browse the internet on the web browser. So this is good, and if you have a product activation key, you can go ahead and enter your product key here and click next. This is going to activate your Windows. So this is good. So I'm going to reboot my machine now. So I got two Windows 10 operating systems machines here, WinCL01 and CL02. So let's go here, and these are the brand new machines which I have just installed, and you can see no name, no IP address is configured yet. So I'm going to configure these two machines also. So the first machine I'm going to configure, I'm going to basically first let's configure the IP address on both the machines. So I'm going to configure it this machine like IPv4, so it's going to be 192.168.0.211 and 192.168.0.1. Get primary DNS is going to be address of our essential server, so it's going to allow you to join the domain. So I'm going to reset it. So this is going to be 211 and the second machine is going to be 200. 2012, so I'm going to click here and Ethernet, IPv6 disable, and this is going to be 192.168.0.212 and 192.168.0.1 gateway, and DNS is going to be my 201 essential server. So these machines are also good to join the domain which we are going to build in our basically on our essential server. So I'm good. I can go ahead and log into this machine. So what we have done, we have configured the IP address on our essential server, we have renamed the essential server, and we are good to go and promote this server as a domain controller on our infrastructure. So click on local server to verify the name has been reset, the IP address is reset, remote desktop is enabled, enhanced security is disabled, so we are good actually. Now I'm going to add role and features, click next, and this is going to be a role based installation. So what I'm going to install, I'm going to install this is our server name and IP address and the operating system. You can verify Windows Server 2019 Essential. So I'm going to install remote desktop services, Active Directory domain services here, and this is going to be automatically installed DNS server here. So we are good. Click next and leave everything default and just click on install. So this is going to install the binaries of the Active Directory domain controller on this machine, which is going to be promoted as a domain controller in this Active Directory domain services, and then we are going to promote this server as a domain controller. So this is going to take few seconds. So till the time, let's rename both the client machines and reboot them. So I'm going to change the name, so Win10CL01, and this is going to reboot now after changing the name, and the same thing I'm going to follow here. I'm going to rename this. So if you have already having machines which you want to join in domain, so essential domain, so you have to make sure you configure the IP address correctly and pointed the essential operating system server as a primary DNS and rename it with the proper name, and then you are good. So you can see this is ready for the installation and promote this server as a domain controller. So I'm going to promote this server as a domain controller. So this is going to be a new forest, so I'm going to promote it. Vector info source dot local. Click next. It's going to check the name. It's not conflicting on the network. So it's going to give you the forest function label and domain function label option. So it's going to forest function label, you have multiple options because you have selected the forest function label 2016, you will get the domain function label 2016. So this is going to be directory restore mode password, so I'm going to put some password here and click next. and this is showing the delegation services cannot be created, so we can create it later on also, so as per our requirement. And it's going to find the NetBIOS name for the domain, so it's going to be a Victor Info. So in my case, so click next, and now it's going to give you the option where the Active Directory files are going to save. So the default location is a C Windows NTDS and C Windows sysvol. So click next, and now it's going to run the pre-check, and if everything goes well, you will get the installation button to get the installation started. So verifying the pre-request for the domain control operations, so it might take few seconds, so we have to wait for it. So everything looks good, and now all the pre-request check pass successful. I'm going to click on install button to start the installation. So this installation is going to take some time to get the installation done and rebooted. So once this is good, you will get your Active Directory server up and running. So what next I am going to do, once the server is rebooted, I am going to join these two machines in a domain, then we'll verify the user. We'll create some users account also to verify the login credential and everything. So just wait for some time. So I'm going to pause the recording once again, and once this server is promoted as the domain controller rebooted, I will resume from there once again. So installation is done. Now this machine is rebooted and it's applying computer settings. So in few seconds we will get the login screen to start with it. So we got the login screen, and now I'm going to click Control-Enter-Del to log into the machine. So you can see Victor Infosol/administrator is now coming. So this machine is now promoted as a domain controller, so we are good with it. So now we have to do some post check, and then we need to do some post configuration related to Active Directory and DNS. So the first thing you will see, the DNS has been removed from the IP address configuration, so let's verify it. So if I go to details, you can see DNS has been removed. I'm going to re-enter the DNS, otherwise you will not get the internet also. So I'm going to move it to 192.168.0.202, and then I'm going to put here 192.168.0.1 and click OK. So DNS is good now, and let's disable it once and enable the NIC, so you will get the internet. So you can see now it's verified as a Victor Infosol.local, and also you got the internet, so this is good. So close this, and now I'm going to launch Server Manager. And so from the Server Manager tools, I'm going to open the first thing, which is DNS. And in the DNS, you will see the forward lookup zone is already created. I'm going to create a reverse lookup zone for my subnet. So the subnet which I have in production in my this demo environment is going to be a, so this is going to be a primary zone, and the default option I'm going to with to all DNS server running on the domain controller in this domain. So click next, and I'm IPv4, so I'm going to make it to subnet which we have 192.168.0. so it's going to create the reverse lookup zone for us and leave everything as a default option. Now you can see it's been created, and I'm going to apply the PTR record for the ESS server. Now you can see the PTR record has been also created, and you can see Active Directory and DNS is now on the dashboard. So I'm going to launch now site and services, and from the site and services I'm going to rename my site. So this is going to be a default first site name, so I'm going to rename it to my um, country India. I'm going to rename it, and this is good. I'm done. And the next thing, I have to change the date and time setting. You have to make sure you have configured the correct time and date, otherwise it's not going to sync. It's going to create issues in your environment. So I'm going to make it to New Delhi plus 5:30 as per my country time, and this is done. And now I'm going to launch Active Directory users and computers. From here you will see domain name victorinfosol.local. So I'm going to create few organization unit here. So I'm going to create like Noida, and under the Noida I'm going to create all the different type of organization unit. Like I'm going to create computers, I'm going to create users, I'm going to create one more thing which is called groups. So this is done. Now our Active Directory infrastructure is up and running, and we are good to go ahead and join the machines in domain. So I'm going to join these machines in my domain, which is Windows 10 client machines. So I have already configured IP address and renamed these machines. So change setting, and I'm going to put here my domain name, which is victorinfosol.local, and hit enter. So it's going to ask you credentials, so I'm going to provide my credential to join this machine in domain. So welcome to the victorinfosol.local domain. So this is good, and now I'm going to restart, and same I'm going to perform with my second machine. So victorinfosol.local, I'm going to provide my credential. So you can see these two machines are now joined in my domain. So you see both machines are joined. So I'm going to move these computers in computer objects. So this is good. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create two users here. So demo users. So first one is going to be user 01, and I'm going to set password on this machine for this user, and password never expire. I'm going to set I'm going to copy this user, and this is going to be our second user. So I'm going to use these two users account to log into these computers which we have. User 01 and password for user 01. And you can see it's login. It's going to take some time, so I'm going to log in with on the second machines with the user 02. It's going to be user 02. So now you can see it's logged in. So this is good. And now if I go and run the cmd and type the set command, you will see few information I want to show you, which is logon server is our win2k19 ESS server, and our domain name is victorinfosol.local. So this is good. So we have successfully installed Essential operating system, which Windows Server 2019 Essential, and we have successfully join two Windows 10 machines in our essential operating system, which we have promoted as a domain controller and DNS server. So I'm going to break this installation and configuration video in multiple parts. So this is going to be a first part. So I'm going to record further like configuration, like configuring the file server, configuring the Active Directory, um, uh, others things, like you can say we can configure multiple things like DHCP. We can configure a backup, how we can schedule a backup for this server, and also we can schedule the uh, like uh, per day backup, a full backup, or the incremental backup for our essential operating system server. We will see how we can configure Windows Server update services. So I'm going to follow this videos in multiple parts. So for now, this is all about in this video. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe me for more videos. And if you have any query, any question regarding this video, you can always post me on my given mail IDs. Thank you once again. Bye bye.